What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's another week at the Boston Power Hour. My name is Clifford Bonet. Once again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys. You guys might believe it. You might not believe it. We actually like you guys, especially when you hit us on the DM, especially when you hit that subscribe button on the Cliff Notes Project YouTube channel, especially when you just share these things, because sharing is caring. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, the world needs more sharing because you guys care so much, and we really care about you. Today's episode is going to be just a little bit different. It's never the same. We can't keep it the same. We always got to keep it fresh. I know that you guys have been hitting my guy up. You've been saying, hey, do you guys have a special guest? Hey, what's going on with Spike? Hey, we saw a helmet. We saw jerseys. What is going on? I'm going to bring the man of the hour because you know what? The Celtics won. It's a great evening. I'm happy. I'm going to send it to my guy over here. Are you ready to come on board, sir? One more time. Are you ready, sir? Talk to me. Talk to the people.
You know what? You know who's been watching the show? Jason Tatum's been watching the show recently because recently when we said, Jason Tatum, are you even a killer? Jason Tatum, what are you doing? Happy birthday, Jason Tatum.
Happy
35
birthday.
points tonight and a big win for the Celtics. So that's great. But tonight's not going to be about the Celtics.
No.
Tonight's not going to be about the Bruins, who have been looking pretty good lately. And tonight's not going to be about the MLB lockout and the Red Sox, and we're going to be missing most of April for MLB games.
Listen, let's be happy tonight, okay?
We're going to go back into football again.
Yes.
Today's going to be a very special episode. And listen, let me put a disclaimer out there.
Okay.
All right. I told Cliff I wanted to do this, and Cliff was like, I don't know. I don't know if we should do this, but he's jumped on board, and I know most of you are probably going to roll your eyes, but just watch, enjoy the experience, enjoy the ride. Let's have some fun and understand the method to my madness inside this brain.
So
I
will say that even though we are going to do things a little bit different, but we're still going to keep with our usual format as far as, like, the ranting.
Oh, yeah. I got a major rant.
All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what time it is. Uh-oh. I hear it. You guys hear? It's that noise again. Run for cover. Save your children.
Cliff, this is what I got to say.
Talk to me. What are you ranting about now?
Why do Patriots fans have to slander their own players? There's a difference. I know a hypocrite alert will come out where it's like, well, you slander Dante Hightower. I mean, Dante Hightower is past his prime. You saw it this past year. There's a difference between constructive criticism, Cliff, and absolutely throwing somebody down, wishing that person wasn't on the team anymore, wanting him cut and beat down, and doesn't show any support.
Okay.
And that's what the New England Patriots fan base has been doing.
With
Jarrett Stidham over the last 3 years. Jarrett Stidham. Listen to this. I've been supporting Jarrett Stidham since day one. There's a reason why the New England Patriots drafted him in the 4th round. There's a reason why Jarrett Stidham is still on the team. I have, and here's the thing. I just want to see success out of another human being, Cliff.
That's right, especially on our team.
And you know what? I'm not dumb. You got Mac Jones on the team now. I want to see the Patriots succeed.
Yeah.
And I still want to see Jarrett Stidham get his success. And we're going to get into it in a little bit. But I want to still see the success out of him.
I like that. I like where you're going.
Stop slandering your own players. There's a reason why he's still here.
There is a reason, sir. And for some reason, whatever that reason may be, sir, for whatever reason, I believe that you might have something to talk about. Before you go there, because I see what you're doing. Do you want to bring that out, or do you want to just...
I do want to talk about it.
Okay, let's...
So here's the thing.
All right.
In this world, it's about networking, about meeting the right people, and going where you got to go. So
that's right.
Cliff.
Yes, sir.
We got a little gift.
We did? I love
gifts.
A gift
for the show.
I love gifts.
And I've been sitting on this for like over a week.
Okay.
I haven't even talked about it publicly. The first time I'm talking about it.
Okay.
There's only a select few people that know about this.
That's it.
And
is your wife
one of
your wife one of the people?
She's one of the people.
I'm glad, because if you said no,
you're one of the people. You had to see it before we went on the show.
This is true. This is true.
Get everything set up.
Yeah, you know.
I just want to say this.
Yep.
This in here what I have symbolizes a support system. You know, I'm Babs, I'm Spike King, Babinko, whatever you call me. I'm also the Hype King. And I stuck in his corner the entire time. And I will always show support to Jarrett Stidham no matter what. And any other players like on the team, dude, like the Gunnar Olszewskis, the Dietrich Wises. And listen, I support Mac Jones, but I also have constructive criticism.
We have to.
And Jarrett Stidham's going to get some later on today, too. I'm not going to just completely be blind the entire time. Here's the thing.
Talk to me.
When you have people, you have acquaintances, you network, you get things. So, you know, end of the season, reach out to Jarrett Stidham, say, hey, I would love to get one of your jerseys. I am not a person that really collects autographs or jerseys or anything like that.
Okay.
I got this jersey sent in from Jarrett Stidham himself.
Ooh.
And it was awesome because this is an actual game-worn, game-worn, from the man himself, number 4, JS4, right?
You know what? I think we got people that like us here.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
You see it in the back.
I see it.
I got a cough there.
It's all right.
Jarrett Stidham, and you guys can read it because they have it on the side.
Take a picture, zoom it, do what you got to do, baby.
Look at this.
I'm gonna give you full view.
Look how fantastic this is.
Let me give you
and
full
for those
view.
that can't read it, it says, to Spike King.
Let me bring it back. Go ahead.
Bring it back. To Spike King, my #1 fan. Always appreciate the support. Go Pats, JS4.
You get applaud for that. That's a beautiful thing.
Let me tell you something. And this is a legitimate jersey. It's got the 42 in it. It's got 2020 on it. That's PB Helmets explain everything to me. Awesome guy on Instagram. Explain the shoulder lengths, explain the numbers, and all that stuff.
So it's legit.
It's a legit game, like, worn jersey. Now, yeah, you can make fun of it. Stidham doesn't play games and stuff like that. I mean, he wears this on the field.
Haters.
It's an actual on-field jersey.
That's right.
So I look at this as a symbol of someone that recognizes a support system around him when no one else supports him. There are a few guys out there because they support any Patriots players.
Yep.
And this jersey means so much to me personally that it represents a time frame over these last few years of supporting another human being and wanting to see success and seeing a lot of maturity out of him and seeing a lot of growth. And maybe his time will be coming up very soon in New England, but I do hope him the success and will be following him no matter where he goes. If you are somebody that knows to do framing and stuff, hook me up because I want this framed. I never get jerseys framed. I don't collect autographs, but because of how personal it is, this is to me, I'm so grateful, so happy. And that's why, Cliff, when I got this in, I said, we're doing a whole show dedicated to Jarrett Stidham. That's my love back to you, baby, because we're going to go through his entire career, high school, college, NFL, where he is at today. And I figured I did all my homework. And we're supposed to do this Monday.
Yep.
And things happen in my life.
That's okay.
So we're here Thursday.
We're here.
So we're here to talk about it. And this whole show is dedicated to Jarrett Stidham. It's the Jarrett Stidham experience. And maybe you guys will learn something at home about JS4.
Listen, I'm excited, man, because I saw some of the notes. I did see some of the notes.
Dude, I learned a lot, too.
And you know what? I will say, you know what? No spoiler. No spoiler, because I was like, no way. I had to Google. I was like, maybe you were like drunk or something. Maybe you got some information that was wrong. No. So, to my delight, shout outs to Jarrett Stidham. Seriously, man.
And another disclaimer.
Uh-oh, talk about it.
There's another disclaimer.
Okay.
Because people are going to twist things. I have not spoken to Stidham. Everything I talk about is in my own personal opinions and all the research I did on my own. I've been following his career with the Patriots since he was drafted and putting the pieces to the puzzle together, and we're going to talk about those pieces.
Okay.
I might say things that are completely wrong, but that's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you'll get the flow of it. But it's great to like go back on a lot of the clips. It's great to go back on some of where he was and his potential and still has potential.
That's
and I
it.
think that needs to be brought back out there.
I'm going to bring that up because I know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's all about competition, okay? It's all about competition. There is sophomore jinx. But you know what? Let's start it from the beginning, sir. He did go to high school, right?
Stevensville, Texas is where Jarrett Stidham is from.
Okay.
And actually, I got to pull out my notes because it's been a couple
okay.
days. I got hot. I'll get hot later on in the show. So Jarrett Stidham they called him the Tom Brady of Stevensville, Texas.
Ooh.
That's how much he was so popular down there. So when you look at his stats, his senior year of high school, first off, his freshman year, Stidham was a wide receiver.
Yes.
Cliff, did you watch that at all? Did you watch the video at all? So there was a minute-long video. There's a 4-minute video, but the first minute was his highlights of him as a freshman wide receiver, and wow, he looked great.
You know what? How about we
land of the free, home of the brave, and right up under your nose, you might see a sex slave being traded.
He's doing his thing.
Because of like music and stuff, but look at that. Young buck, dude. So this, I believe, was in this was like 2007, 2008, I think.
He got a little speed.
He got a little speed, baby. A little toe drag swag. Like, where's this Jarrett Stidham? Like, this is 10 years. If he's watching this is 10 years ago. Come on.
Agreed. And you know what? I'm gonna switch it up because I did see something here. I want to bring it back here.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring that back.
Because we know.
Run.
Look at that. That's your quarterback.
So take that, and you guys are watching at home. And guys, by the way, just take the time. YouTube, Google some of the Jarrett Stidham highlights.
Boom. Right on the numbers. Right. Perfect.
So Jarrett Stidham, you saw the run. That got you excited. So his senior year, right?
Yep.
Look at these numbers. His passing. He's got passing, and I think the yards are way more than that. He had 30 I think he had like 3,000 yards. He had 35 touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards rushing, 50 total touchdowns. When he was coming out of high school, ESPN ranked Jarrett Stidham the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
That's some high praise. I believe he was 7th by like Max Preps rankings as well too. So you saw that. You got a little excited there, right? You saw the running, able to scramble, use his legs, was able to catch as a freshman. So he had things going for him going into his college career. So I don't know what you got next, but
do you want to do a little did you know? Because there's something.
Yeah, I did have a did you know. Reminder.
Let's do that.
We're going to go off the rails.Id you know?
Did you know?
Jarrett Stidham. He played a little ball.
A little hoop action, baby.
He played a little
hoops. We're playing basketball. I'm sorry, I can't say.
He was a sophomore on the varsity team, if I remember. I'm not cheating. And he averaged 11.1 points per game over 14 games. Do you think I could take Jarrett Stidham on one-on-one basketball?
I'm going to say no. You're my boy and all, but I'm going to say no, man.
Cliff, they used to call me 3-point Pabeacon back in the day.
Listen, but maybe
hang out in the arc there.
But did you see his speed? I think he might just D up.
Okay, but with the injuries that he's had over the last decade, I mean, I've had a couple injuries. I've had 2 back surgeries, so maybe it's an even matchup.
I thought this was supposed to be a positive thing. Let's not talk about injuries.
There's going to be some negativity there. I'm going to throw it out there. I got to be realistic. JRD said, "Are you sure about that?" I said, "Let's be real, and we'll get real when the time needs to get real."
Okay.
This is a nice little flourishing. He was a 2-star athlete, played basketball, he played football, he focused on football, 50 touchdowns. He starts looking at colleges.
Okay, I know where he went next.
He went to Baylor.
Looks like Green Bay.
Went to Baylor. So he was the backup in Baylor when he went there. What ended up happening for him his freshman year was an injury. Pretty much it's taken advantage of an opportunity.
Again.
Injury happens. He gets in. He gets 3 starts at Baylor. Looked fantastic in those 3 starts. Then he gets hurt. So this is a common theme that you're going to end up seeing is that I believe, let me look at it. I think he had an ankle injury. So it was, let's see, Baylor. All right. So actually, here's the funny thing.
Talk to me.
This is more important. Stidham originally was going to go to Texas Tech.
I remember this.
So Stidham committed to Texas Tech and pulled back. You know who went to Texas Tech?
Your boy.
My boy.
Your boy.
My boy. No, not
my boy. I don't like
your
him.
boy.
No. We can't talk about him yet.
No.
Mahomes. Bleh.
Pat Mahomes. So Stidham originally was going to go to Texas Tech, and Pat Mahomes was already there. I looked into it, and he was going to go into his sophomore year, and Stidham probably knew I'm not going to be able to beat out that guy. And probably saw what was going on. Like, you're going to back up Pat Mahomes. It's kind of interesting now to see where Pat Mahomes is today.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, an MVP. He's still at the top of the league, one of the top quarterbacks. So it's interesting that Stidham had an opportunity to go to Texas Tech and he could have been backing up Pat Mahomes at the time.
And it's also good to know that he's like, shit, that guy's pretty freaking good.
Yeah, he knew that right away.
Yeah.
So going back to Baylor, he played 3 games. He got hurt, wasn't able to play in the bowl game, the playoff that they had. And then that was that for his Baylor career. It was
But he
very
got
short-lived.
A quick 7 games, couple
7
yards.
games that he got to play in and 6 touchdowns. So then what happened was at Baylor, Jarrett Stidham's not involved in this, there was a scandal with some of the sports teams, and there was sexual harassment allegations going on. And Stidham also knew that, hey, I don't want to be a backup here. I do want to be a starter. In the 7 games he was there, he showed enough to be a starter somewhere. He believed in himself. And that's what he ended up doing was, I'm transferring out of here.
And where are we going, sir?
So he went to Auburn. He took a little in the middle of the road. He went to a community college for a semester. Probably had to do that for the NCAA.
Yep.
Went to Auburn, became the starter at Auburn. So what's important at Auburn, he played there for 2 years, right? He transferred there. He ended up having wins against Georgia and Alabama at the time, which is
Big
huge.
wins.
He played against huge schools, SEC. He competed. He looked good. So he played his first 2 years there. And then he went there. They ended up losing in the bowl game to UCF in the Peach Bowl. So then he ended up playing the 2018 season. And then he had an opportunity to go for his senior year. So in his senior year, he said, no, I'm going to go to the draft.
Well,
So
did
let's
they
put
have
the
notes?
first-
You want to look at the notes?
I don't know what you have. I mean,
This is the notes.
Okay.
This is what they
Oh,
said.
Look at this. So these are his notes going into the NFL draft.
His
Let
strengths
me
and
put the
weaknesses.
tinfoil hat on for 1 second. Cliff.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Let's
I need
bring
to
it
buy
up.
a tinfoil hat or just put that in there. So we already looked at, and this is a quick background of Stidham. I'm not going to bother everybody and go on and on and on. You saw what he did in high school with his 50 touchdowns, dual threat quarterback, goes to Baylor, transfers, goes to Auburn, started for 2 years, has a couple good wins under his belt. He did have some good stats in Auburn.
Yep.
Conspiracy, the New England Patriots are watching. The New England Patriots are going to Jarrett Stidham and saying, hey, kid, going to the draft this year. We'll pick you up later in the rounds. The reports are, and you guys can Google this. I don't have it all out there, and I sent him the links to look at it, was that Jarrett Stidham was, if he played another year, his senior year, was going to be a first-round draft pick in 2020. He's not Joe Burrow, but he said that he could have been slated higher than Tua. He was right around that area. So Stidham decided, probably in his best interest, maybe I'll slip in the draft, but I'll go to a contending team. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to the New England Patriots and be there with Tom Brady?
That's what I was going to say.
So if you're talking to New England and say, hey, we'll pick you up later on, not many teams might have enough film on you or believe in you, but we're going to snag you when we can afford it. You got to be real.
Good
so
career
I think
move.
Stidham kind of did that. That's my personal tinfoil hat conspiracy, and I'm sure I'll get the answer one day from him.
Yep.
So if you show back up, those were his strengths of what he was going
Let's
into
go over
the
those
NFL
strengths.
Combine. Why don't you go over them, Cliff?
I like the beautiful touch on the deep ball with an ideal loft and the velocity of the drop passes in a bucket. That's key for NFL, is it not?
It is key. And that still goes with today. And if you saw any of his OTAs and stuff, they always said and tweeted out that Stidham had one of the best deep balls and he had one of the best throwing balls over Mac Jones, over Cam Newton.
That's right. And then mobile in and out of the pocket.
Yep.
Very important for this league. Very important,
So
sir.
it's important, and has Stidham lost that with his injuries over the last couple of years? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know that.
We don't know. Releases the ball quickly. That was something very big for Tom Brady. And
TB12, get it out in a couple seconds.
in and out, baby. Shows the ability to make over game and lead his teams to victory. To me, that's a little minutia. That's more like a little fluff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Bama win, the Georgia win in
Yep.
2017 was a big deal for Stidham to have some big wins under his. I mean, you play in the SEC; those are big games. Again, college ready. I mean, NFL ready. Just like Mac Jones, you're ready. You're ready for the moment.
This here caught my eye. Adequate, but not amazing arm strength. Okay, we've always heard that of the majority of the quarterback coming out, but can make field side throws with anticipation. Who does that remind you of? Someone he ran away from. Mahomes does that side. That would have been nice.
Yeah, that's
Would have
true.
been nice. Well-built, compact play with enough agility and athleticism to get outside of the pocket and make throws. We know about that because we saw he probably got that skills as being a wide receiver. Tough, no-bull quarterback who battled behind one of the nation's worst offensive line. That right there, I want to talk about that, if
Go
that's
ahead.
okay.
Yeah, all you.
Let me ask you a question, sir. We are here in New England, and we know Dante Scarnecchia is no longer here. Our line is, say, subpar, fair to say.
Yeah,
And I'm
fair to
only
say.
saying that because was our quarterback this year, didn't he lead? No, or second place, I think, to Joe Burrow. getting sacked.
Yeah.
And
He was
getting
one of the
beat
most
up like a
QB
rag
hits.
dog. So that would have been nice to have. It seems as though at that time when they were evaluating him that maybe Stidham could have done a good job. Hey, silver bullet. Maybe he would have been better than Tom Brady with those quarterback sneaks too. I don't know. We'll never know. Or maybe we will. What do you think, sir?
It definitely shows that they were looking at Stidham's, even with a bad offensive line, he was still able to make plays with his legs. And that's what the NFL is nowadays, right?
That's right.
And Silver Bullet, you want to mention him, said the same thing about Mac Jones. Mac Jones is able to make plays with his legs, and we actually have seen it a couple times throughout the season. Able to extend plays. That's a very good strength from Mac Jones. And Jarrett Stidham had it. So it's actually interesting that strength came from Stidham, and they also got Cam Newton, who's a running quarterback. Which is what he did pretty much in 2020.
Right.
And to know that Mac Jones does that. So everyone should take a look at this and be like, they were already prepping for this.
For a running quarterback? Maybe?
I want to say this because I am going to post this eventually. I think this is a great kind of segue for everything to kind of put together. Jarrett Stidham has one of the most interesting stories because Stidham was drafted when it's Tom Brady's last year, was here during the Cam Newton experience, and was here during Mac Jones' rookie year and going to be here for a sophomore year. Jarrett Stidham actually might have one of the most interesting stories we will never hear about. He was able to see the fallout of Brady. He was able to see the rise and fall of Cam Newton. He's able to see the come up of Mac Jones. I would love to hear or to read about what Stidham has seen over these last pretty much going to be 4 years in New England before his time is over. It's not just like an offensive lineman who's just playing with like these quarterbacks. He's in the quarterback room day in, day out and seeing everything that happens. I really would love to pick his brain to really understand how the transitions happen over the last few years. And the Patriots fans would also love to get a little insight like that too.
You know what's pretty cool that you said that because, Michael Hawley, Michael Smith, if you're out there, I know you like my guys thing. Holla at Jared. Maybe you could write another book. That'd be pretty cool. I'll do BTS. You could do the other interviews. What do you think?
Dude, I really think that and it depends. I'm not pressuring Jared at all.
Not at all.
And it's just like.
We're kind of just talking.
Because it's, you're still playing for the team. You're going to be who you are. You're going to keep your mouth shut and you're going to grind it out. But when the years come up and, whenever that time comes, I would love to hear him speak because you can't say, oh, it's just Jarrett Stidham. Who cares what he's got to say? It's like, no, that dude was there.
Yeah.
Like he was literally the backup. He was the backup to Tom Brady in his last year in the New England Patriots.
Right.
I'm sure he's seen things that Tom Brady was doing post game or during the week for preparation.
Agreed.
It's little things that he might have said. It's actually great to know that Stidham has kept tight lips. Like you'd never hear him say anything.
It's pretty amazing.
And for someone like Spike King to be able to latch on to him, like he doesn't say anything to me. I don't hear anything from him. I'm just a big fan of his and support him. So he's been very tight-lipped. I can't wait to hear one day what he's got to say because even having Cam Newton come in and then leave, even Mac Jones and knowing like, wow, this guy's going to take my position and my job and seeing how the team, relates around him because you hear things throughout the season like when Cam Newton in 2020 when they lost to Buffalo at home there was already talks of like the offensive line getting pissed off at Cam Newton. Like I'm sure that they're sitting in the quarterback room and it's Stidham and Cam and they're sitting next to each other in Hoyer and I'm sure that Cam's saying certain things that aren't being repeated out there. I really want to know what he has seen over these last 4 years. Because it's the transition, it's the changing of the guard. Because if Mac Jones is truly your franchise guy, there's not going to be another quarterback for the next 10 years. It's Mac Jones. So to know what was the transition like from Brady to Mac, he knows it all. I think he really holds the keys to see. He saw everything.
I think, too, you bring up a solid point. If we'll go with your conspiracy theory as far as like, hey, let me not go back to school. Let me just jump out. These guys promised me this.
Yeah.
I am watching from afar. Tom Brady will eventually retire. Maybe I can be next in line. They'll groom me. They'll fix my mechanics. They've done wonders for Brady. He wasn't the GOAT immediately. If I fit their mold, they came to me. And then to kind of see him going through that, there is an amazing story that is to be told.
And they still believe in him. They still have him here. They still see him as valuable. We'll get into that in a little bit. But he's still here. They never cut ties. But it is all timing.
Right.
And sometimes, You know, it's like Brady taking over. It was timing and injury, and just
Bledsoe
went in there and
didn't
took
want
over
it.
and never looked back.
That's right.
What if Bledsoe never got hurt? You know, that's the whole conspiracy. So, like, it's the same thing with Stidham. Like, just timing didn't work out. But let's go through it because there were certain things that were detrimental to Stidham himself.
Let's talk about the weaknesses.
But let's talk about his weaknesses. Go ahead, Cliff.
All right, 2017 and 2018, tape looked like two different quarterbacks. Didn't take the next steps in his development as expected. But you know what? That's actually okay. Reason I'm saying that is okay is because, guess what? He's still a young quarterback. And he never really was a full-time quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. He was a wide receiver, then became then he got hurt, then became quarterback, then got hurt. Then
It's kind of like Edelman, where he was a quarterback who turned into a wide receiver.
Great point.
So it's like you're learning a new position, and Edelman came to the Patriots, and they kind of had to teach him the position,
right?
And they molded him, and now look where Edelman is.
Yeah,
you know,
amazing. Didn't trust his linemen to pick up blitzes. This was telling, which led to sacks, poor pre-snap reads, and taking his eyes off receivers. Jimmy G used to do that.
So important to that, which I don't have. You know, we don't have pictures of it. Jarrett Stidham, when he first came here, spent a lot of time with David Andrews. That's your center and your quarterback. So David Andrews missed the 2019 season, and while he missed the season and Stidham's backing up, they're spending a lot of time together getting on the same page and building a friendship. It's so important, and we've seen that now with David and Mac, but I didn't really see that with David and Cam Newton. And I think that I just want to kind of put this together is I think that if you're not on the same page as your offensive line, everything's going to go to shit.
100%.
You know, if you're not helping that offensive line either, you're trashing them, that offensive line's going to let you get hit.
Oh, my God.
So you got to be on the same page. How many times have we seen Tom Brady praise his offensive line, whether he does it in, like, you know, his Instagram post? Look at my jersey, no green on it, to my offensive line.
Constantly.
Buying them, like, Rolexes or whatever he does. Mac Jones this past year showed support and bought them, I think, Bitcoin or something like that. Like, that came out. So you have to show a lot of love to the guys up front, the Hogs, man. That line that
keep you clean and keep you upright.
Keeps you clean. So I thought that was interesting to see that and just know that Stidham immediately, you know, grasped onto Andrews when he first got here and said, let's get on the same page, man.
Makes sense. Sounds like a pro. Puts himself in harm's way when scrambling and often tries to play the hero. That, again, to me, is just a former wide receiver trying to make a play and trying to extend things.
Which explains some of his interceptions that he's had anytime he's had opportunities.
That's right.
Because you're just throwing it out there and see what happens.
Hesitates to unleash the ball, looked afraid, disappoint, or fail as Auburn seasons fell apart. A lot of, not so many negatives to me. It just screams someone that needs training.
Yeah.
Someone that needs to be refined. Sat down and says, hey, this is what we're seeing on film. This is what we want. You know what's crazy? Throughout his career, he has never had an opportunity to say, here's the key to the car, drive. It's always been something. Injury, competition, which is fine. But to me, again, since we're kind of talking about him today, it tells me something about his character. He's still here, right? So we talked about this during the season. I think there might be a quarterback competition. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's just hold on. Hold on. Don't go crazy. I'm not saying they're immediately trying to get rid of Mac Jones. What I will say is if Bill Belichick is still the same Bill Belichick that's been coaching this team, it's always about competition. It doesn't hurt to have competition. Maybe it will light a fire on our rookie, no longer rookie quarterback. And again, what if, let me ask you, you're Bill or you're the GM. Let's say there is a quarterback competition. And Jarrett seems to outshine the current quarterback. What do you do, sir? What do you do?
I'm going to answer that question at the end of the show. Just to make people, because I know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I know what people think I'm going to say. And I want to start going now in chronological order of his time here. I know we're all over the place, but I want to go in chronological order here because you said a couple things that I do want to point out that I think that the opportunities were there and he didn't seize the moment.
Okay.
So some of it's against him, but some of it, like you can't predict injuries, but some of it was also not taking advantage. Talk about the draft. 2019, he gets drafted here.
You want to talk the draft, or do you? I was going to give you the overall. Just the overall.
Okay, so overall, go ahead.
So overall, as a collective, we left Stidham 2017 tape. However, he looked like a completely different quarterback. 2018 is redundant. In 2018, Stidham looked like a lock to be a first-round quarterback, but as times in 2018, he looked like a fourth-round guy. Ouch. Will the right coaches be able to restore Stidham and get his confidence back? Blah 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 blah. So basically, like we were saying.
And you saw it right there in 2017 already. He's looking like a first rounder. Mm-hmm. Fell off a little bit in 2018 that he slips into the draft, right? So, but then again, it's like, all right, I know I have first round talent. Mm-hmm. I can kind of dictate where I want to go in the draft if I'm slipping here.
So you bring him on. What's your thoughts?
All right, so this photo, I need an explanation from Jarrett Stidham. Because I like the swagger. I like the confidence. I like the cockiness. This is the changing of the guard, guys. Because you're going from Tom Brady, militaristic, do your job, the Patriot way. This doesn't look like the Patriot way. This was like your first time seeing like some sort of new up-and-coming swag from a quarterback, right? Because think about it. It went from this to Cam Newton to Mac Jones, who Mac Jones is starting to feel himself in his own certain way, right? Completely different than what you've seen over the last 20 years. This could have been one of the most epic pictures if Jarrett Stidham ended up taking over right away for this New England Patriots team and was successful. Now it's a complete meme. It's a complete joke. I actually want to know in Jarrett's mind what was going through this photo shoot. What did the Patriots think of this photo shoot? Because the Patriots are watching, their PR team's watching, everything. They're like, oh, like, why are you doing that? So it's both ways. I'm middle because I love the swagger confidence of a young kid coming in and say, I might be that next guy. No one wore number 4 since Adam Vinatieri. He was the first. Yep. He's the first ever quarterback for the New England Patriots to ever wear number 4.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. And it just oozes swagger, oozes confidence. And now they took Mac Jones's head with the little cigar and they put it on there with number 10. And it's like it's just a meme now. It's become a meme. But I would love to know what was going through their mind when they told him, hey, we want you to sit in the throne with the ball, put your foot up there on the Patriots logo on the helmet.
But I know what's going on. You told me, hey, listen, come out. We're going to get you. You got me. Hey, don't worry. The GOAT, a.k.a. Tom Brady, he's coming out. I want you to follow his likeness. I want you to run up field with him. I want you to be close. I want you to study him.
Yep. So you said earlier that he wasn't like, he was handed the keys to the kingdom in a certain way. Mm-hmm. It was kind of probably in his mindset, I'm taking over when Brady's leaving. Now, you got to know going into 2019, again, Jarrett Stidham knows what's going on. Like, right? He's sitting in the quarterback rooms. He's kind of getting a sense of things. And now that we look back on it, most people now know Tom Brady was leaving no matter what. Right. People knew going into that season it was his last season.
What if he knew too?
And Stidham probably knew. Stidham earned the backup job. He beat out Brian Hoyer in the preseason. He had a great showing against the Detroit Lions. There was remember that like video? It was Brady on the sideline. Mm-hmm. Stidham throws a touchdown, and Brady just kind of like straight face mad. Hoyer does it later on, and he's happy jumping around for his guy. I will say this because it's people who followed me for this long, and back then I was vocal that they needed to carry all 3 quarterbacks. I said by no means should Jarrett Stidham beat out Brian Hoyer, only because Brady wanted Hoyer behind him. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the falls. Like, you want to talk about Belichick trying to push Brady out? That starts there. Yep. Because Brian Hoyer was wanted by Brady. He knows because, A, his job's safe, but B, he trusts Hoyer enough to go on the sidelines and say, Brian, what did you see? Yep. Hey, Brian, can you run the scout team this week against the Kansas City? We're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Get these guys ready on defense. He trusted Hoyer.
True.
And the fact that Hoyer gets kicked out for Jarrett Stidham, right? Mm-hmm. Brady's not going to Stidham and mentoring him.
Nope.
Brady's not going to Stidham and saying, what did you see, kid, in this play, and this play, and
why the hell would you do that?
And the fucked up thing, Cliff, that pisses me off is that about week 5, they added a third quarterback. So, like, I know at the time on the roster, 53-man roster, you got to cut it down. It was hard. They needed more defensive guys on there or offensive weapons, and they just we can't carry 3 quarterbacks. You can't let Stidham go to waivers because another team would pick him up.
Right.
That's why he's been on this team the whole entire time. Another team will pick up Stidham on his contract. And same thing with Hoyer, he would not make the practice squad. So you had to just cut ties with somebody and hoping that, he would clear waivers. And Hoyer ended up just signing with the Colts that year. And Hoyer got his money, and Hoyer got to play some games and got to do what he got to do. I thought going in the Tom Brady's aspect of this, that was the first notch of Brady's getting kicked out.
Yep.
Brady's not getting what he wants. Why not just have Stidham behind Hoyer and Brady? So I think that right there, it's good and bad for Jarrett because you're behind Brady. You get to learn, but how much are you truly learning from behind a pissed off Tom Brady that knew he was out of there?
Is he sharing anything?
And if you looked at that offense that year, they look pitiful sometimes. And what's Brady's mindset going through? Are you able to sit down in the room? It's Brady and it was Brady and Stidham. They're sitting down next to each other.
And now, should we bring the downfall? Should we start there?
And so on the high up of Stidham making the team and backing up Brady, now your opportunity is eventually going to come. So he has his first opportunity other than the preseason, but now regular season has his first real opportunity to get out there, do a little damage. Go out there and do something. And
then that happens.
It's the infamous pick 6.
Oh, my God.
Anytime.
Where were you when this was happening, first of all? Give us a little background.
Let's see.
If you can remember.
It was week 3, I believe, and it was against the Jets at home.
Correct.
So this was 2019.
This guy's good.
I think I was home that day. I don't think I went to that game.
Well, you might have saved yourself, a little thing for this guy.
And out of all people, it's Jamal Adams that ended up getting that pick 6.
With a block and a pick 6.
The problem with this play.
Look at this.
It's the second throw. And it's lackadaisical. And what ended up happening is Brady had to come back into the game.
Yep.
And Brady was pissed.
He was pissed.
Because now Brady, all of a sudden, and we just literally said it, you lost Brian Hoyer.
Yep.
You lost your true backup you wanted. And then Jarrett Stidham goes in there in the second play, throws a pick 6. You're like, now this guy is never going to fucking relieve me for the rest of the year.
Yep.
He's never going to relieve me. That's probably Brady's mindset. What the fuck? We don't even have a capable backup that can go in there and close out a game. I have to go do it myself. This is unacceptable. Which Brady now shows that I'm still this valuable to this organization.
You need me. You need me.
And now that pick 6 has carried all through these years because anytime you talk about Jarrett Stidham, and he had a great 2020 when he filled in and had to fill in, they always thought, well, yeah, he's a pick 6 machine. He's a pick 6 machine. He's a pick 6 machine. These things happen.
They do.
Peyton Manning threw pick 6s. Brett Favre threw pick 6s. The quarterbacks throw pick 6s. He's a backup. He's a backup going and just being kind of lackadaisical. And I think there was some immaturity in a certain way with Jarrett Stidham because he thought the keys were already going to be handed to him. It's his team, no worries. Now does the team start looking differently at him? You go in there, you can't even clean up this game. That was a big knock on him, and I don't think Stidham came in for relief until towards the end of the season.
But I got to ask you this. Is it his fault? You have you and I.
Yes, because you know what? You shouldn't be going in there, Cliff, and throwing a pick 6 when it's cleanup duty. You're a rookie, and it's your showcase, and you're at home. To Jamal Adams, out of all people, it's the New York Jets. That was the worst kind of showcase for yourself. So he deserves blame.
He definitely deserves blame. This is we're a show that we keep reality. We're fans, but at the same time we got to keep it real. But what if there was this hype behind him, and he's like, oh my God, it's cleanup time. I need to prove a point. Zoom, let's it go. Oh my God. We never saw him after that. It was insane.
You just ruined your reputation within a matter of a couple seconds.
It's not fair. You said it yourself. Peyton Manning throws picks.
Yep.
Tom Brady throws picks.
Yeah. So, again, it's about, okay, you do that, and you're not starting anyways this season. Let's see what goes on for the next season. You're still here.
Yeah.
So when we roll into 2020, the big thing that I saw was Tom Brady left. They instantly bring Hoyer back. And you said this, he never had the keys to the kingdom. He did. He had the keys to the New England Patriots kingdom for a couple months. From pretty much mid-January of 2020 all the way until mid-June when Cam Newton was coming to New England. That's the time frame that Jarrett Stidham was the quarterback one for the New England Patriots. And when I look at, and again, this is me being real, in my opinions and what I saw was you're a young kid, Jarrett Stidham, and, you know, we live in a social media world.
Sucks.
And at that time, I would say after the season was over in 2019, Stidham, I think, felt like the team was his and he wasn't going to have any competition. They went into the NFL draft and they didn't get anybody.
Right.
So that right there, if you're him, you're sitting there like, wow, like they don't get anybody. Like they must believe in me.
Like, okay.
And he's at the facility. He was practicing.
Yep.
But then, and Jarrett, you know, these are things that I hear. Like you're down at the seaport, you know, drinking. You're out having a good time. And at this, it's all about timing. And at that same time that this is happening, you know, pictures at the seaport, you're at the beach having fun. Tom Brady's down in Tampa Bay working his ass off during the middle of the pandemic, going to parks. Every day was a new report of Brady having fun, Brady being excited. Now the pressure's on in the organization. Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick himself. Oh, shit, we just let this guy go, and he's taking this super serious. Like, what's our guy
What's
doing?
our move?
So during the middle of 2020, Jarrett Stidham goes down to Texas to go celebrate his anniversary. Now, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what? You go down, you go celebrate your anniversary with your wife. You know, your family's from Texas. That's what you want to do. And I'm wondering, was it one of those things that he went to Bill and said, hey, I'm going to go down for a week in the middle of June before we start training camp during the middle of a pandemic where everyone was freaking out, right? I want to know what the Patriots were thinking because the timing is coincidental in the sense of Jarrett Stidham goes to Texas, they sign Cam Newton while he's down there.
Ouch.
So, you know, I've heard things of, well, Cam was already being looked at, and they, because of COVID protocols, they weren't able to get a health screening on him and this and that. If the Patriots wanted Cam Newton off the bat, they would have got Cam Newton off the bat. Now, I was a person that did say at the draft, they should look at Cam Newton, and they should look at Jameis Winston, because Jarrett Stidham is still raw, right? And he needs competition.
Right.
But I feel like they almost were giving him the keys to the kingdom, and he didn't take it as serious enough. Stidham instantly comes back from Texas right away, grabs whoever he can grab, like a Gunnar Olszewski, a player like that, a couple receivers, a Jacoby Myers. Let's go down to Duxbury High and start fucking throwing the ball before training camp. So Stidham, and he went, and I know this is true because he went back on his Instagram and deleted a lot of old photos. That was a punch in the face to be like, oh, wow, I learned a lesson at a young age, like in a social media world. Shit, I shouldn't have done that. I should have took this more serious. And he did. He came back up here. Cam's now signed. Cam obviously earns a lot of respect from his peers because of who he is.
Former MVP, Super Bowl, almost won a Super Bowl.
And he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day.
Yep.
To the people that say no, he's going to be a Hall of Famer
Y'all
one
are
day.
insane.
So he already has the locker room on his side, and I don't think Stidham had that yet. But when we're in training camp, Stidham looked better than Cam Newton at the start. And if you even go on Twitter and just look up Stidham stuff from that era of 2020, he had a better throw, he had better timing out there, better poise, better receptions, all that. He was beating Cam Newton out for the first couple days. Then Stidham got hurt. So he had one of these practices where he threw, I think it was like 5 straight interceptions, and it looked awful. And the reports were saying that he was trying to throw into tight windows. They were trying to see how much can we push the limit, right?
Yep.
It didn't come out, but it was true. He had a grade 1 groin tear. So instantly, you know, you go into that, it's a 4 to 5 week recovery. That was it. Like Cam Newton's now their starting quarterback.
That's
There's no more competition anymore.
Nope, he's there.
So now Stidham just lost the entire 2020 preseason. He had no preseason. I mean, they didn't have preseason games anyways, but they had no real preseason to work out. He was hurt in August. That was it. He was done for. You shut it down. He eventually comes back later in that season, which was the Kansas City game, was he was activated. So Hoyer started that Kansas City game because Hoyer was QB2 on the depth chart. And Belichick isn't going to let Stidham just jump the quarterback too. He's going to give Hoyer the opportunity. And Hoyer stunk up that room. I firmly believe if Jarrett Stidham was in that full game against Kansas City and had the game flow with him, they would have won that game because of how close that game was. He came in and he threw a pick six that game. Ironic, right?
Yep.
Edelman, it was a bad read to Edelman. Edelman's off his hands. There's nothing you can do about that. That was not on Jarrett Stidham. And Jarrett Stidham threw a pick later on because it was like, we need to make something work. And he just throws a deep ball. It was a bad throw. There's nothing you can do. He's trying to salvage a win out of this. He threw a nice ball to N'Keal Harry that game. N'Keal Harry has the only relationship he has is with Jarrett Stidham, another guy that like worked together side by side with Stidham and came in at the same time. So Jarrett Stidham showed something in that game enough that he jumped Brian Hoyer. Question now, Cliff.
Here we go.
Why didn't Jarrett Stidham start any games later on in the season when the Patriots were absolutely done and out of it?
Great question.
Two things on my end is that, number one, they told Cam Newton, we're riding and dying with you this season.
Boom.
We're not going to bench you. That would be a humongous bad look for Cam Newton.
Especially when you're trying to do what next year? Bring, hopefully, some veterans?
Some veterans in or whatever. It's like if Cam Newton starts bad-mouthing the team, it doesn't help you going into the following year.
Yep.
You stuck with Cam Newton side by side, which obviously worked out because you needed him back anyways the following year, just to be there. But it was one of those things that you knew already what you have with Stidham. I think that Stidham 100% deserved to at least start the last game of the season against the Jets because you want to see progression, right? At the same time, with Stidham's injury history, do you want to risk him going out there in the last week of a meaningless game
Hell
and he
no.
gets hurt, and now you have Cam Newton who's coming a free agent and you have him getting hurt, right? I mean, we're going back on something. Let's be real. It got Mac Jones. It all kind of works out. But it really, at this time, it's such a question mark of where they were going to go in the future. There was no guarantees going forward.
I agree.
It just sucks that because another wasted season of you saw what he had in 2019 in that preseason, and you go through all this, and he didn't get really any more opportunities. He showed a couple of flashes during the year. He came in during the Chargers game when it was that huge blowout win. He came in through a touchdown. So when he was in mop-up duty later on in the season, he actually did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it was enough to keep him around.
Again, it's back to, the roller coaster thing, not necessarily ever having kind of an opportunity just to say, this is mine. Typically, when veterans or even leaders and quarterbacks, they lose their position because they get hurt. They know when they're back to hit the field, they get their jobs back. He's never had that opportunity ever, which again, I want to read the book.
And again, so now all of a sudden, it turns into the offseason again, right? If Cam Newton's a free agent, right? Pretty much a free agent. What does Jarrett Stidham do? The immediate thing he does, he's go out to California. He meets up with Jordan Palmer, who is a quarterback's, coach, guru type of guy, trainer. He's out there with Josh Allen. He's out there with Sam Darnold, and he's just working on his craft. Because now he's injury-free, right? He's coming off that groin injury. He had small opportunities in the season, knows that he got pushed down. Probably was like, fuck, I got to go out there and try my best. This is the maturing now of Jarrett Stidham. He went from being handed the keys the year prior with no one drafted to being like, I have to earn my spot now.
Yeah.
I think he got kicked in the balls. And, it was a maturing year for Jarrett Stidham in a good way. Jarrett Stidham ends up setting up Pats West, where, Cam was signed because you needed someone there. We're not going to go over this Jarrett Stidham thing again. That's probably their thinking. We need Cam here. We just want them to compete with each other. He sets up Pats West, was successful. I think that was a shot at Cam Newton because now he's like, I'm going to compete with you this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to compete with Cam. I got to do one up him.
Thank you
Cam
for
was
holding my
scrambling,
seat.
by the way. He did Pats West, and then they immediate right away. What are you doing? Cam's like, oh, we're going to do something in Atlanta next week, which never happened, by the way. What happened was he invited Cam out, his competition. Yeah, come out here and play, just fuck around with us, do some drills. During afterwards of their practices, there was pictures of them hanging out together. They went paintballing, they'd do cooking classes, whatever it might be. Cam Newton was nowhere to be found. Cam was doing his own thing, had his own training schedule. He didn't do all that extra stuff with them at Pats West. But I thought that was the first sign of like, okay, now he's becoming a leader.
A leader.
Now he wants to build chemistry. And what built off of that, Cliff, was his chemistry with both Kendrick Bourne and Hunter Henry. Henry lived with Jarrett Stidham while he was on his move from California to New England. And he lived with the Stidhams for about a month and a half.
That's a big deal.
I've preached this. You know, what ends up happening is Mac Jones gets drafted. And that's a big kick in the balls to both Newton and Stidham. It's like, oh, shit, this guy's coming in. So Hunter Henry spends all this time with Stidham, who had one of the best seasons as a receiver. Hunter Henry did. Spent all this time with Kendrick Bourne, who had a good season as a wide receiver. Kendrick Bourne had a good season. Stidham had them ready to go. So that's another plus to look at. Hey, Stidham's good enough to be on this team to get these receivers
guys up and running
to what we have for our playbook.
Correct.
He was able to do that. That's the success in the 2021 season. So, Cliff, when we come here now, it's the preseason again.
Yep.
So now the quarterback room, so it's a little full. You got Stidham, Cam Newton, Mac Jones. It is OTAs now. It's what is it, May when they do the OTAs, and Stidham didn't get as many throws. But again, you look at the reports, Stidham had the best deep ball. Every goddamn day, Stidham had the best deep ball out of all three of them. Stidham then goes into the day before training camp in July. And I follow this stuff to a T, Cliff. I told you, put the pieces of the puzzle together. I see everything that goes on.
It's happening right there.
Because
pay attention.
I obviously studied this guy enough to like know what's going on. Stidham goes out with an undisclosed back injury, has surgery, out for the preseason, out for 7 or 8 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Because watching him and following him and seeing him practice, he didn't look hurt.
Okay.
So again, the tinfoil hat, throwing this
saying?
on.
What's it saying?
Again, and I want to know what Stidham has to think about this. Did they tell Stidham, hey, you have a little something, go get it cleaned up. We actually want Mac versus Cam.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback room is too deep, right? It's you got Cam and you have Stidham. Those are your 1 and 2.
Yep.
And Mac is your 3rd. So if you're going into preseason, when you look at reps, how are the reps going to be distributed? So the reps would have been more Cam and Stidham, and Mac would get the leftovers.
Right.
Whatever the powers may be, probably Robert Kraft, I want my first-round draft pick getting as many reps as possible.
Right.
So who's the odd man out? It's Stidham. It
Yep.
really is Stidham because they're not going to do that to Cam.
Nope.
They're going to keep Cam in there for the competition. And it's better off saying Mac beat out Cam Newton than beating out like a Jarrett Stidham. I feel like Jarrett Stidham got screwed. I feel like it's another wasted opportunity. He wasn't able to go to any of those preseason games and show what he has. He wasn't able to do a single thing this past year. He was inactive every single game. Another wasted opportunity for an injury I don't believe in. I don't know what the injury is. I know the first one was a grade 1 groin tear. I do know that. I don't know what the second one is. And I feel like it was something made up, some bullshit to push Cam out of here.
For the end
I do think they were pushing Cam out of here. I do think, Mac earned it, and it's timing. Again, timing, right?
Yep.
Timing that Cam Newton wasn't vaccinated and leaves, and then has to wait 5 days to come back to the team, and then all of a sudden Mac looks great, and they're like, yeah, let's get out of him. Let's just run with the rookie. And maybe they told Jarrett Stidham, you're still with us? Next year's your time. That's it. That brings us now up to today.
And we are here.
And we're here. Jarrett Stidham isn't here to mentor Mac Jones. Jarrett Stidham here is to win a starting job. Jarrett Stidham is going into his last final season with the New England Patriots on his rookie deal. Mac versus Jarrett. Here we are. We're finally here, guys.
We're here.
Mac versus Jarrett. And the $1 million question is going to be, what do you think happens? Going to be realistic.
Let's talk about it.
Mac Jones is going to be your starting quarterback. But that doesn't mean that Jarrett Stidham isn't going to showcase his abilities this preseason. I want to see what he has because you need friendly competition. You need a guy who's hungry, who Jarrett Stidham's been held back the last couple of years because of injuries and all that stuff we just talked about, that he's going to be able to compete with Mac to bring the best out of Mac Jones. Now, Cliff, you asked this. What if Jarrett Stidham looks better than Mac Jones? What will Bill Belichick do? Bill Belichick always says, I'm going to start the best guy. In this case, It's not going to be Bill Belichick's decision. It's going to be Robert Kraft's decision. You do not bench your first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, Stidham, I want him to go out there and throw 100 touchdowns in preseason and have no incompletions, right? And I want him to look better because I support him. But I support Mac too. But in no way, no shape, and no world are you going to bench your first-round draft pick. I'm sorry.
Unless you go into like a maybe 4-game losing streak.
That's so people say this, Cliff, and they say, all right, cut Stidham. Stidham is a valuable backup. Stidham doesn't have to rush and go anywhere. So there's two ways around it, and this is the future of Jarrett Stidham. What will go for him, right?
Yep.
There's two ways around it. If Jarrett Stidham looks fantastic this preseason, you have the option to trade him, and you want to get your 4th-round pick back. Belichick would be happy about that. And I think you could get a 4th-round pick off of Stidham. I think that's what you can get off of him. If he looks good in a preseason game and there's a QB needy team out there that needs a valuable backup, and they say, we'll give you your 4th-round pick back, maybe Bill does that.
So who's our backup?
Brian Hoyer, most likely.
Still.
If they bring him back.
There's my question.
The other problem with that is, you just said this, you go on a 4-game losing streak.
Yep.
God forbid something happens to Mac Jones.
It's not Hoyer,
Stidham's the most valuable backup that you have. He knows the plays. He knows the system. He knows the players around him.
And you have him under contract.
You have him under contract on a rookie deal. You're not spending a lot of money off of him. You'd be spending more money on Brian Hoyer to back up.
That's right.
So let him back up. Let Stidham be the backup who's still hungry to get his opportunity whenever he can.
Right.
I think that's what you're going to see from Jarrett this upcoming year. What I see going down the line going forward, I know I'm talking all night about this. Keep going forward. Jarrett Stidham will probably end up leaving the New England Patriots. You let that contract run out. And I think as the Patriots, that's a great way to say, hey, you were here. We didn't cut ties with you at all. We gave you as the opportunities as we could, and good luck in your best future endeavors. If I'm Jarrett Stidham, he will continue his NFL career somewhere else. I don't see him staying in New England as the backup to Mac Jones. If I'm him, you kind of assess the field. What's an organization out there that I have a chance to win a starting job?
Yeah.
Can it be Denver? Can it be Houston? Can it be New Orleans? It all depends.
Can it be the Colts?
Could it be the Colts?
Yeah.
Could it be Pittsburgh? There's going to be a lot of opportunity, and I think what's great for Stidham is that he's maturing as an NFL quarterback. NFL quarterbacks don't need to be rushed in right away.
That's right.
They can take their time. They can mature. They can get better. So I think that if Stidham has a great preseason, shows some flashes, he's going to be valuable. He'll compete, and I think he will get a starting job in the NFL in 2023 with another team. He will be a starting quarterback somewhere. That's going to be a QB-needy team, and I think Stidham will do enough to win the job and look good and flourish. And that won't be a knock on Stidham's time here. It's, again, timing didn't work out.
That's right.
And actually want to see Jarrett flourish because it makes Belichick look good because he saw the potential out of him.
And he
just
picked
like
him.
he did with Jimmy G.
That's right.
Just like he did with Matt Castle.
That's right. That's
you know,
right.
just like he did now with Mac in a way. Like he fell into their lap, but it's like you see the potential out of Mac Jones.
This is similar to what actually happened with Matt Hasselbeck. He was behind just a goat, like throughout his career. He just couldn't get on the field. But when he finally did, he actually did some damage. He went to, I think he almost got to, he was a game away from the Super Bowl and had that horrific interception.
Wasn't he the quarterback? Was he
Green Bay?
Matt Hasselbeck was the quarterback for the Seahawks.
That is correct.
Wasn't that the Seahawks that lost to the Steelers? I think he was the quarterback at that time.
Hold on.
When they
Might
had,
be right.
what's his face? Sean Alexander.
You might be right. Hold on.
I know a little football knowledge,
Yeah.
hopefully.
I just know because he played
but
behind.
he's a quarterback that was a journeyman that ended up, taking the opportunity when the time comes. Like, that's what it is.
And
that's
he
why I
finally
look
got
at
it on his back end, like with the Colts. He did really well, too, with that.
And I want to put this together in full circle and go back to the beginning of the rant. Why slander somebody that has potential? Like, I want Stidham to succeed elsewhere. I actually don't want him in New England anymore. Because we already know what the writing on the wall is. We know it's Mac Jones, right? But I want to see him succeed elsewhere to be like, I fucking told you so. This guy actually has something. He has potential, and he could have been that guy. I want it to work out for everybody, right? Like when Brady left, it worked out for Brady. He won a Super Bowl. Like I hope it works out for the New England Patriots, where the New England Patriots win a Super Bowl with Belichick as the coach, and they do it with Mac. I want Jarrett Stidham to win a Super Bowl. I want Jimmy Garoppolo to go win a Super Bowl, and he went to one, right? So I just want to see, you want to keep seeing success out of these people that had some sort of Patriots ties.
100%. 100%. I actually think, because the kid, the athleticism is something that it seems that all teams are looking for, right? Look at what happened to us versus the Bills. Look at Joe Burrow. Not as limber, but he moves, you know. Look at the Chargers quarterback. All these quarterbacks are mobile. Maybe Jarrett is one of those. Maybe he does need a chance. And maybe a Pittsburgh might be interested.
And two things is the value of Stidham is the knowledge of the Patriots system for 4 years, where you came from. You learned under Brady, whatever he learned under Brady.
Right.
You learned through Belichick. You learned through the Mac Jones experience. He
Josh
has a lot that he
McDaniels.
can bring over. He learned from Josh McDaniels. There's a lot that Stidham kind of holds that I don't think a lot of people know about, and that's the value of his mind. But number two is his heart in it still. Is his passion in it? Is it still there? Because you come from, we talked about, you go from Baylor, you transfer over to Auburn. You were slated as a first-round pick, but you go fourth round. The keys to the kingdom were kind of there for the New England Patriots for the taking. Injury happens. Another injury happens. You're getting pushed off to the side. The fan base doesn't even fucking support you here. How much of he's having a kid coming up soon. You're building a house in Texas.
A lot of humble beginnings, man, starting all over.
But is your heart and passion still in there? And as the hype king, I'm trying to tell Jarrett, just ride the wave. Your time is going to come. Keep putting the work in. And that thrown pitcher will be a success one day. I really do believe in the guy. I believe in him. There's obviously something going on if he's going out to fucking... Remember that him and Josh Allen. Look at this, Kendrick. Here's some stuff we can go through. Memory lane here. Kendrick Bourne, a guy who had an amazing season. And I kept preaching this cliff on my Instagram throughout the year, right? Was that, and I said it here on Boston Power Hour, is that Stidham matches Mac Jones more than what Cam Newton matches, right?
Right.
Cam Newton's a completely different quarterback. So guys that worked with Cam Newton, like Jonnu Smith, had a failure of a season. Guys who worked with Jarrett Stidham, like Bourne and Hunter Henry, had a successful season because, yes, when Mac Jones took over, it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. They're the same guy. It's the same system. It's almost the same person. And look at this bonding. This is leadership. This was the first signs of leadership here at Pats West. You're playing paintball with you guys. These are all the new signings that you pretty much had. You had even had Wilkerson out there, by the way, too. And Wilkerson showed a little life in that Jaguars game later this season.
That was nice to see.
So it was nice to see all those guys go out to Cali. It was a good way. Will there be Pats West 2.0? I got a maybe on it. We'll see what ends up happening.
You would hope so.
I think Jarrett needs to do Pats West 2.0 and try to get and that's only a couple weeks away where March comes. Whoever you get for free agents, show that leadership still.
Yeah.
Just go out there and get these guys together and just say, hey, this is our team. Invite Mac out there.
Yeah.
What I loved seeing from Pats West was the chemistry that came off of that. Yeah. And I think it carried over a bit into the season. And I would love to see Mac Jones out there as well, too, and all the offensive guys just kind of getting together and just being buddy-buddy. You need that for this upcoming season. You need everyone to be on the same page.
I can buy that because you could see when we were going in that little losing streak, they were still positive. I think everyone was like, oh, man, this is going to be bad. And they're like, no, we have something here. So it would be nice to see it. I want to see him regardless of him getting the starting position or not, because as you said, there's a lot of politics going on, right?
There is. I think that there's stuff that has, again, there's the three causes here. One is himself because of being a little immature, and I think that was early on. Again, the timing wasn't there.
You're right.
Whereas, I mean, look where Mac comes from right away, has the maturity already set, but you're also coming from straight from a national championship, Bama, first-round draft pick, and throwing right in. Where Stidham had to wait a full year under Brady and kind of, it is what it is. And maybe immaturity is the wrong word, but that's my way of perceiving it. Number two is injuries. You can't really predict them, and they happen. It's unfortunate. In Jarrett's career, going from, even in high school through college, he always had some sort of injury that was lingering around with him, which he was this great dual threat quarterback, and we've seen it. We've seen those highlights. Does he still have it because of his injuries?
Yeah.
Or is he now like, I haven't taken a beating in the last couple of years. I'm fully healthy and I'm ready to go. That's what I'm interested in this upcoming season. And then number 3 is the powers to be, as you said. He was sought at. That's a Bill Belichick pick.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Belichick went after Stidham. Like, he sees something out of him to draft him in the 4th round and maybe tell him, hey, go in early. We're going to try to get you later on. He saw something out of him.
Yeah.
But the powers may be where it's like, hey, you kind of ruined your opportunity. That's it. Sometimes you only get one shot. That's it.
That's it.
Cam comes in. Cam leaves. Max in. It's hard to beat out a first rounder.
And that's it. And he put some decent numbers. We're not hating on him. We want to see more, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And like you said, nobody wants to see a first rounder just go away so quickly.
That ruins the confidence of Mac Jones. And even if Mac stinks, like, for some reason, right, has some sort of slump, and I don't see that happening, you can't bench him. You'd rather put him in the first week, second week, then be like, okay, now this is really not working.
Right.
And then you have somebody waiting in the wings ready to go.
Yep.
I want to see Mac Jones go out there and win 11 or 12 games this season.
Of course, it's our team.
I'm not here begging Jarrett Stidham to be the starter over Mac Jones.
No.
It's fun to do it on the Instagram. It's fun to do it on Twitter. It's fun to post the Jarrett Stidham anytime Mac does a mistake or something, gets people riled up. But I thought that this episode would be great to kind of put everything together and understand my perspective of where I come from, and where I see the potential out of him, and that he shouldn't just be thrown in and crushed down by the fan base. He obviously means something to this organization if he's still here.
And I want to say, too, I don't think Stidham wants to see Mac Jones lose because he's still a team.
He's a team player.
And that's the thing.
He was like that with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He showed a lot of, and I think that's the maturing process through Cam was, hey, kid, you're not, and he never even got to start. Where there's points where it's like, I think Stidham should start over Cam. I think a lot of people wanted to see that in the middle of the season.
A lot of people did want to see that.
And he stuck with it and supports it. Hey, this is a team sport. You support your team.
Your teammate.
He wants to see the Patriots win games. He's going through the experience. I'm sure the 7-game stretch he was having so much fun watching and be part of that team and see things. And again, this is why I want to know his perspective, what he got to see this year. He got to see a lot, man. He's seeing everything. He's there.
Yeah, I think, you know what, he's that fly on the wall that everybody wants to be when things like this are going down, man. And what's insane about it is I know as good as of a teammate he is, where we haven't heard anything, he's being really tight-lipped. I just don't want him to ever go out, and my coach used to say, leave it on the field so you can never look back and say woulda, shoulda, coulda. I don't want him to say woulda, shoulda, coulda. Because the Patriots weren't the only ones to say that they saw something in him. We read what his strengths and weaknesses were.
Yeah.
You know?
I also know that Stidham has a good backing behind him to know that he does have a future in sports if it's not football. Some things you can't control. I mean, it's not like his career is over. Like, it's still there. There's still chances that he's going to have, and he's going to get them. And I hope that he keeps his heart and his mind in it, because at the end of the day, he's an underdog, right?
Yeah.
He had a chance to be the guy and got pushed down, and I hope that there's that fight that's keeping him alive that ends up being something one day. And again, if you want to spin this as a Patriots fan, imagine Jarrett Stidham goes somewhere and actually is a great quarterback. It's another product of the system looking great. Think about how many people support Jimmy G and wanted to see the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Right.
How many people still supported Brady when he left.
And it's okay.
It's okay to do that.
Yeah.
How many people supported, Matt Castle when he went to Kansas City? I'm sure people did that because they said, thank you for being here and being that backup. People supported Brian Hoyer. How about Jacoby Brissett, another guy that got his opportunity?
With the Colts, I like that.
He got his opportunity, and even down in Miami. So that's Stidham. Like, that's going to end up being Stidham as the Brian Hoyer, Jacoby Brissett. Go to a different team. You're going to get an opportunity because he came from New England.
There is one quarterback we weren't too happy about going somewhere. Doug Flutie. Because we hate the Bills. We hate the goddamn Bills. Ugh. Shouldn't have gone there. Fruity Flakes.
You just want to support it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. Even a guy like Drew Bledsoe, I know that there was somewhat of a fallout, but I'm sure there are plenty of old school people that supported him. Even if he went to the Bills too.
Yeah.
I know, but like whatever.
Bills. Bah. All right.
Support
man.
the guy.
Yeah, I agree with that, man.
Well, and now that we've talked about this and been open and you got to see the notes, Cliff, and I know you went into this, probably didn't know all this information. What do you think of him now? Like, what do you think of this whole and overall spectrum of this educational night of Jarrett Stidham?
Well, one thing I will say is that all these athletes, regardless of being a starter, non-starter, a Super Bowl hero, GOAT, whatever, at one point in time, they were great in their element, regardless of it being in high school or college. Obviously, there is going to be an attrition of your greatness because guess what? You're going against other great players. But it was cool to see that he was a wide receiver. A lot of the touchdowns, he was diving in, which is probably why he's so injury prone, because he was getting cracked all these times. And then someone says, wait a minute, we see you as a quarterback. Stop diving in. But he was still diving in there. You know, I salute him for still wanting to be here. I think my ego, which I'm always telling people, check your ego at the door. I would have been like, get me the hell out of here.
That's a great point because you got pushed down and then Cam's your guy. And then even that last year of just, hey, you're getting pushed down again. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could easily just say, fuck this, dude.
100%.
Like, fuck this. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like he could say, trade me, cut me. Look what N'Keal Harry was doing, right?
Yeah.
Like N'Keal Harry.
And he had no stats.
Yeah. Like N'Keal Harry, I think Stidham had more stats.
He did have more stats.
Stidham had more stats. The reason why N'Keal Harry's a touchdown is because of Stidham.
Yeah.
But you don't hear Stidham bitching and moaning and pouting and it's just him taking day by day. He's built a great reputation within the organization and made some friends in there.
Yep.
And he's going through the motions here. Probably knows that his time is probably coming to an end soon.
Yeah.
Here in New England, which is fine. It's
right.
business,
It's
right? He
exactly.
knows it's business. Yep. But hey, if I'm going to go out and this is my final year, I got to make sure I do the right things. And there will be an opportunity in NFL because if you look at Jarrett Stidham and Jarrett, if you look at all the other quarterbacks around the league, there is going to be an opportunity out there. Like there is, based on injuries that happen or just how players come and go very quickly.
Yeah.
You have something behind you. Other organizations are going to value it. It's just you have to go out there and put the work in. And I hope this preseason we at least see the old 2019 Jarrett Stidham out there and say, damn, this kid actually does have something. I'm glad that he's at least here to back up Mac Jones this year in case, God forbid, the worst thing happens possible.
And you just stole my thunder, right? Like, allow the kid to get some tape.
That's it.
Just like we did with Cam Newton. I honestly believe, like, Coach knew, all right, we got to move on from you. We're going to give you some film. Go out there and do what you can. Here's some tape. Show the people that you could still hand the ball off or do something.
And they want him still in Carolina.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Cam is really falling. Like, Cam's done. Like, Cam is a backup now. Cam needs to accept the backup role. Yeah. Like, Cam's a valuable backup in case, like, an emergency, you break the glass and start him.
Yep.
And that's what Carolina did last year, but it only works for so long.
For so long. I agree.
And I think that Bill respects Cam.
Yep.
And respects his respects his MVP, respects what he did for the league, kind of transforms the quarterbacks to where they are today.
Yes, he did.
And I think Bill sees the history of the league and understands that and said, thank you. And said, I can only do so much for you, though.
Right.
Like, I can only do so much. We're going to start you, do everything. And it got Cam another position again with Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, it was enough film on him to, like, all right, we'll bring you in. So.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, we've been saying this team was really built for Cam.
It was.
2 tight ends.
It was 100%.
Running team. Yeah.
I'm just interested this offseason, Cliff, of, it's already March. It's already March. Time's going quick. Everyone's talking about the combine this week. Everyone's posting the numbers on Twitter. I don't give a fuck about numbers. I don't give a fuck about the combine.
Everyone looks great during
Everyone looks great during the combine.
Yeah.
You see these throws. There are certain telling things like, I saw Justin Herbert live at the Combine, and I was like, damn, this guy looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he's one of the better quarterbacks now in the league, but what has Herbert done in 2 years? Like, he's just gone 7-9 and missed the playoffs the next year again. Like, it doesn't really do too much, right? I look at, the next March in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, March Madness, right? Between NCAA basketball. But when free agency opens up and we start seeing the players come in, at that moment, what's Mac Jones doing? What's Jarrett Stidham doing?
Yep.
What are they doing to welcome in these people? What are they doing to work out? I thought Pat's West last year was great in March to get the fan base bought back in after going 7-9.
Yep.
Because you're like, oh, wow, like this team's trying to put something together. The Patriots don't like that stuff to a degree. They like to keep everything secret, quiet. Yeah. But the fans really need to see that. I want to see Mac Jones out there this offseason just throwing around. Like, Cam did it too and got people hyped up when they saw Cam do it. And he did his videos and shit. Like,
I think everyone should do it, honestly.
I want to see that just to, even if it's just tossing the pigskin around. Just knowing that these guys are hanging out, they're talking, they're building chemistry. I hope to see it.
I want to see it because he's dealing with that new coach. Let's see if there's any change in the mechanics. Is the ball coming out a little faster?
Yep.
Are you able to throw a little deeper? Is it more accuracy? Let's see it. You know, we're fans. We're excited. I'm sure the organization wants to see it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
you got to showcase it. I think right now, like I said, Mac came off a great Pro Bowl. He looked good there. He's been touring around doing a couple things, getting some advertisement in there. I know he just did the whole thing with Tom House. He's secretly working. I know Mac's secretly working, just like Jarrett secretly works. These guys are working. They're not just hanging around. Like they're putting the work in. But I want to see a little bit more public setting, hopefully this offseason that keeps the fan base fired up and hyped up.
Yeah, so do I. So before we move on, right, I want to talk to the people real quick if I can, right? I have a gift for you. I have a gift. But before I give you this gift, I need you to be in the appropriate setting to have such a gift. This particular gift can't just be given to you. Like, that's insane. People will be like, Cliff, what the hell are you doing over there? You know, yeah, it's the Spike King, but don't just give them stuff. Come on, guys. You guys got to do better, you know? And I want to do better, ladies and gentlemen. I want to be that guy to bring you entertainment. I want to be that guy to bring you amazing production, not just here, but in other locations, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, I kicked this kid out and I sent him somewhere. You know, I love football, right? When I'm telling you I love some football, I want this thing to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring him out there. Jarrett, I hope this guy.
Did you let yourself go?
What happened?
Dude, this thing actually fits pretty well.
Look at that. Okay, but you know what?
What'd you get for me?
I got something for you, but I need you on the field. Get your ass on the field, all right? Get your ass on the field, okay?
This is what's going to happen. Jarrett Stidham's going to come in, right? Come on, coach.
Let's go.
Here we go, coach.
Let's see it.
You put me in, right?
Let's go. Let's go.
Blue for the two.
Let's go.
Blue for the two.
Say it. Hut.
Hut.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, he's moving left. He's moving right. What is he doing? Listen, I need to see a better throw. Let's do that again.
I need an actual ball in my hand.
All right. You know what? Since baseball season is out.
You get some sort of.
Set.
Hut. Hut. Hut.
Jarrett, that is a baseball, man.
Go along, Jacoby.
No, don't. Touchdown? No, because we know Jacoby only gets first downs. Not a touchdown. I'm sorry. You should have thrown it to N'Keal Harry.
What would be Stidham's go-to signature celebration?
Let's make one right now for him.
Like what kind of like celebration would he do?
He'd probably just do this because he'll do this because he did that. He sat down in that chair.
Remember the Hernandez?
Oh man, can we say that or are we gonna get canceled? That was an amazing cat team.
This is a size 42. Like this is a size.
A 42.
I'm wearing the pads on myself right now.
It's all right. It's all right. So how do you feel in that?
I feel like champion.
Should the coach hire you? Should you get picked?
I mean, you know what?
You got all these guys running back there, and you're working out. What are you doing right now?
All I gotta say is you gotta be ready at any single moment to go out there, Cliff. Get ready. You put your helmet on. You get your game face ready. You get ready to go.
You know what I love? Two things. One, you're wearing a linebacker helmet. That's awesome. Two, you have number 4, Stidham. Amazing, amazing. 3, you're just doing it, man. You're living the dream.
I'm living the dream.
Listen. It's not bad. It's not bad. Listen, maybe it's needed to be stretched out.
I might have to wear this. Do I wear this to a game? Just wear it like this.
They'll let you in?
I need to get this framed.
No, we got to get it framed. We got to get it framed. That's beautiful. That's awesome. All right, get off the field, man. Get your ass off the field, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as you can see, the man is not crazy, but the man does it for the people. We do this for you. We like to just have our fun. Why? Because it's the Boston Power Hour, and guess what? We can do things like that, man. I think I see him coming back. Yeah, there he goes.
I need a new jersey scent. I think I ripped the. I think I heard the stitches starting to go.
How'd you feel out there, man?
Feels great. Feels great to be on the field again. Got my injuries are cleaned up a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm great that I'm going to be able to compete with Mac and just have a good time out there. Just showcase my abilities out there and do whatever ends up happening.
And what is and if I could, how many touchdowns are you looking to throw this year?
Oh, I mean, this year I'm looking to throw at least 35 touchdowns.
Oh, nice.
35 touchdowns. I might have a couple QB sneaks and be able to rush some in there.
Okay.
I'm looking at about 40 total.
So let's call you Mr. TD, just like, Jay-Z instead of Mr. INT. Let's talk about Mr. TD.
Mr. TD.
So how much money do you want, sir? Every year, I'm ready to give you whatever it is that you want.
Just I'm here to win games. That's what I'm here to do right now. I'm not focused on the money. I'm focused on the W's.
I love that. And with that being said, since you said you like W's, we'll give you Whoppers. Okay?
Whoppers.
That's how we'll pay you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, we appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to our craziness. Even though that guy, he kind of has some pretty good ideas today as far as like the conspiracy theory. I don't think it's conspiracy. I'm actually going to use that and tell everyone I think he's right.
There's truth to it. And the truth will eventually come out. And we will have the truth one day. We'll I'm sure we'll get it.
Jared, thank you for the jersey. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hook us up with a book deal after you go to another team and win a Super Bowl. Is that okay to say, or are they going to hate me for saying that?
No, I'm pretty sure. Listen, here's the thing.
Talk to me.
Jarrett Stidham goes to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
We are there. Like, I'm going to be there.
I'll be there.
Jarrett Stidham goes to a different team. Like, let's say he goes to New Orleans. I will go down to games to support him.
I follow Tom.
I'm a Patriots guy.
Me too.
I'm a Patriots guy.
But
don't get me wrong. But I'm supporting Jarrett Stidham till like the day he's out of the league. I'm still going to support him as a human being.
I'm not mad at that.
But I'm supporting him no matter where he goes. I'm going to get his jersey no matter where he goes. I'm going to follow him no matter where he goes. My page is going to cover him. We will be sitting here on the Boston Power Hour in 2 years from now, and I'll be talking about Jarrett Stidham's Week 13 victory.
That's it.
And securing the first overall seed. We'll be talking about things like that.
And you know what? That is okay, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? I did it. And here's my final thought, ladies and gentlemen. My final thought is if you support someone that you actually like, you purchased a person's jersey, and you're following their particular path, that means you've enjoyed that person's character, not only because he played for your team, but because you actually like that person. Ladies and gentlemen, I follow Brady because he was my quarterback, okay? He retired. He's coming back. That's what I'm saying. He's coming back. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have. What are your final thoughts, sir?
My final thought is real quick, Cliff. We are in March. We've been doing this since October.
Yep.
I know that the last couple weeks I've been a little bit more quiet on my Spike King page. Not a lot of news going on.
You're working.
We working. We are both working.
Yeah.
And I want to just take the time for a couple things to say. Number one, I really appreciate anybody that supports the show, that rewatches us, that watches the clips on this. Mm-hmm. We want to keep growing as a show, and I hope that we'll have future announcements that we're able to do more things and continue to grow.
Maybe
I'm excited to go back into a new football season eventually.
Same here, brother.
And hopefully that all works out. Number two, I think this jersey today and kind of signals to me like the Spike King era is kind of coming to an end.
Oh.
And I think that as we continue to grow, and I talk about maturity, You know, I want to just, what you just saw is just me. It's just Brian. It's just Babs. Like, that's who I am. So there's no change or anything like that. But I think in the direction of where we are going with the show and what we're trying to do going forward, I think that it's time to just be me and literally just show that a name doesn't matter. It's just about the individual person. So I think we might start seeing a slow change over the next couple weeks, maybe, or maybe a month. So. And it's all thanks to you and your help on that as well, too. It's a transition. I want to give more people a heads up now when the time comes.
That's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, my guy is growing right in front of me. What we've discussed over the summer is coming to fruition.
A lot of things.
We have so much more ahead of us, man.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. I have nothing else to say because the final thoughts are done. Continue to share. Stay safe out there. Love your family. Go Pats. Shout outs to the Celtics. Oh, real quick. Jaylen Brown, happy birthday. Not Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum, because of your talking shit, now he's balling.
He's balling.
Because of you.
I talk shit, and he's balling.
Keep talking your shit, bro.
Big win tonight against the Grizzlies.
Happy birthday.
That was an actual perfect.
A real team.
A real team against the Celtics.
No one was hurt on their end. We didn't even have our full thing of superstars. And we'll talk
Celtics next week because I'm going to the KG retirement game.
Ooh, that's Sunday, right?
Up again. It's not this Sunday. Next Sunday.
Next Sunday, the 13th.
We'll have a lot.
Is that St. Patty's Day?
St. Patrick's Day is on the 17th. It's the following Thursday.
What the hell? I know. I mean, I
Where's
can't
your Irish in you?
The luck of the Irish is not in me, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, I let you go.